Lovely jubbly. And we're here.
Saturday night, and I love the way you move.
BERTRAND TRAORE. The sound
mate.
differential there's gonna be something for people to watch. But wow, that was
What a
something,
win.
wasn't it?
Yeah, heart in the mouth sort of stuff at the end there. But, you know, we did what good teams that are fighting for Europe do, and you find a way to win. And I know that they went down to 10 men, but, you know, a year or so ago, even before that, we've struggled against 10 men. We've not been able to break them down. And, I mean, it's come from an absolute perler and an inspired sub with TRAORE. And honestly, I went mental when that went in. You couldn't hit it any better.
No.
Honestly, it's so buzzing.
No, well, I don't think anyone really expected that. And yeah, I mean, look, Mikey, you're here. Obviously, world-renowned favourite of the Aston Villa Faithful Writers Group. And we're going to jump straight in with the main question. Who are we going to draw in the Champions League group stage? Well, obviously, you know, probably someone quite, you know, because we're going to be fourth, aren't we? You're probably going to get your Barcelona, but I'll take fourth.
Yeah.
I'll take fourth.
Yeah,
you know, considering where we come from.
Yeah, well, as I was just saying to you before, we were 17th in the league in October, and we're now 7th, and on a great run of form. What's that now? Is it 5 or 6 unbeaten now?
Enough.
I know that Watkins has scored 6 in 6 on the road, and God, he's looking so good.
The only other player to match that is Sergio Aguero in 2017. Was
17,
it?
Yeah, the last time, yeah. Which
just saying.
You know, it's those levels, and the goal was great. I mean, the touch took it into his stride, fended off the players that were around him, and it was a good finish. You know, because he was falling slightly.
Ignore the video.
Managed to get it round. Managed to go around the keeper. So buzzing.
It's ridiculous, really, isn't it? The video will come back in a minute. It's having a little funny 5 minutes, but why wouldn't it, eh? Because if it was just me and I'd have seen that Bertrand Traoré goal, I think I'd be having a funny 5 minutes all over again.
I couldn't believe it. I was honestly, like, that game sort of played out how I expected in a sense. You know, I didn't think we'd concede, but what we did concede to was a really good pass, good touch, good finish. And, you know, I've seen some blaming Young, which I guess you could kind of say it, but you know, there's not much else he could do. But if he shows him inside, if he marks in goal side, he's on his stronger foot.
Well,
Barnes took that brilliantly. And it's just one of those. And when you're playing a high line, sort of risk that you've got to take, you know. But you know, we did what we do now, and we picked ourselves back up. I think there was a point where we looked like the game was dictating us, and then we took control again. And then obviously, when they went down to 10, we had full control of the game, and we did deserve it in the end. It was a probing, leggy performance at times, which happens after a quick turnaround. But the 3 points is what matters, and another game where we've scored a goal. I don't think we're ever not going to score again. Thanks to King Unai Emery.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, the game started, and the way it started, I was thinking, could this be that game, that one game that trip everything up? Because it was one of my least enjoyable first 20 or so minutes watching a game for a while, because it's the type of game you just don't want to watch, really, playing against a team that's 19th, losing their manager, and are pretty adamant on the fact that they're going to kick you around the park, get the crowd going, and just play the most basic style of football in order to win.
Yeah.
Their chances that they did create, whilst they did create, you've got to be honest, they weren't exactly the chances that were monumentous and the sort of ones that you're going to see carve us open year on year. But it was just, while it started like that, again, like you said, as soon as that ball got played through to Watkins, despite the fact it was so messy, you still thought he was going to put it away. And that's something we haven't had for God knows how long, is that belief that every time that ball gets played through, it's going in the back of the net.
Yeah, exactly. And it is we do well at the moment we feel our way into the game. We are, you know, we do start slow in the sense of on the ball. We do score early goals, but we like to feel our way into the game. And that's sort of what we did. And I think they had an early chance or two, and I think we tried to tighten up a bit. But as I said, it was a quick turnaround, and there was a bit of conservation of energy and trying to work out the opposition. And the commentators kept saying, you know, they need to be a bit braver on the ball, which they do, and they need to be quicker sometimes. But we're still finding the balance between not giving anything away and getting things right, and we're winning games. We're winning more than we're drawing or losing. So, you know, the way we're doing it is clearly right, and I think we can probably see there's a little bit of what's the word, lack of depth. I think because obviously Bailey played out in that striker wide role again, and he didn't have his best game, but I don't think he was an issue as such. But obviously then Bertie comes on and says, well, this is how you do it. But, you know, we are lacking a couple of things in the squad, and yet we're still managing to get these results, and pretty convincingly, really. I know that we were technically on the ropes at some points, but that's football, and it ebbs and flows, and we majorly controlled that game, really. So it's just, it was the relief when that goal went in, and then saw the game out well, and they tried to cheat their way into a penalty and all that. But the 7th in the table, I'm not going to stop saying it. It's fantastic.
It's outrageous, and yeah, I mean, I think I can see just about on your camera and obviously on mine the redness in the cheeks hasn't gone down. I think that's probably from the penalties still, because I was doing laps of my front room going, there's no fucking way, there's no way they're giving that, there's no way, and I'd stop and I started shouting at the TV trying to show the ref where it wasn't a penalty, as if he could. I was like, look, can you see it right there? Elbow in the rib. Can you see it right there? He actually gets a touch on the ball. Stuff like that. The stress that it's get, but it's the sort of enjoyable stress where I'm seeing from Leicester's point of view, they're like, we've got to win this to stay up, and we're like, we've got to win this for a chance of possibly getting Europe. How have we turned this around? 3 points off relegation when Steven Gerrard leaves, and now, oh, wow,
we're 3 points off. What is it now? Is it 6 points off third?
Look, all I hope is we've all got our passports in date. We're all going to be fine, because it's going to be one nice long trip on the. Well, mate, I was speaking to someone the other day. I would take any European competition.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But obviously, when we get Champions League, it's going to be great.
Yeah, you know that for me, like we're sitting 7th, and I think in some circumstances that gets you the conference. It does get you the Conference League, doesn't it? Europe Conference League, I think.
Yeah, I think it's all to do with cups, and it's all way too confusing. The way I see it is 7th is usually would be Europe now. So if we were to finish 7th, even if we didn't get Europe, we're finishing a European place.
Yeah, and then that for me that's the aim, is Europa Conference, and anything else. I mean that's a bonus in itself after the start we had, but anything else on top of that is the bonus. And I've heard obviously a couple of worried points in a sense of, is it too soon? But you've got to get on the boat before it leaves you, because it's just getting harder in this league, and it's an added, pull to players. European football is European football. It is a pull, and it gives you more competitions to use the squad players in, and we can't just have any old squad players. They need to add something. They need to be good enough. They need to have something different to what we already have. We need ways to change the game.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, we're still managing to do that without having that much to pick from. We've got 2 keeps on the bench at the moment. And, I think when Watkins went down early, you're thinking, we're going to have to turn to Duran now. We don't have anything else really. But, I mean, thankfully he got up anyway. And you do think this is why there is a striker. It is reported that Emery wants a striker in the summer. And a lot of people have said, why when we've got Archer? But for me, I think that the way we play at the moment is because of what we've got. Whereas I think he would play with 2 up top, in the one supporting striker like Gerard Moreno at Villarreal who drop in and he links the play. I think that's what we're going to see, and it gives Ollie a free roaming, running behind the defender sort of role. And I mean, on Ollie, it's not really a surprise that he's firing, because Emery gets his strikers firing wherever he goes. Look at Baka, look at Cavani, look at Aubameyang at Arsenal. He gets them scoring goals because he makes them play more selfishly. And look at him, he's 11 goals now. I think he was on 2 when Emery first came in. So,
Well, it's just one of those situations, isn't it, where I think we're all looking to the summer now, and whether we're in Europe or not, we're thinking, fingers crossed, we've got the components to play how Unai wants us to play. Because I sit there quite a lot and think, is this how he's trying to do it? Is that what he wants to do? And it's getting to the point where I'm just happy to just sit along for the ride now. I mean, Sonny's just put on here, I hope Gerrard is crying somewhere. I'm overjoyed at the thought that he will be sat there, and in his mind he'll be going, Why can't they fucking do that for me? And I was terrible, right? But that's what he'll be thinking, right? Because in his mind's eye, it's all the players, right? And
Yeah.
his style of managing is that the players are the ones that do everything, and as a manager, you've basically just got to turn up and sort of adapt to it a little bit. Whereas
That's what he thought.
he won't realise now that what happens is there's a thing called football managers, right? And what they do is they set tactics and game plans, and they delegate and they coach, and they know how to talk to fans, and they're nice blokes, and they look really handsome, and they wear great clothes apart from that one brown gilet, and that's it. It's an extensive job, and there's a reason why they're paid so much. It's a reason why it's such a high risk job. It's because there's so much to be expected from you, and it's so clear to see what you can do when you have an actual manager with an actual game plan. And I like the fact that he clearly took the job knowing what he was going to do as soon as he took it, because there was no sort of... There's been no confusion, has there, really? He wanted Watkins as his starting striker. He wanted... The cat can fuck off. He wanted Watkins as a starting striker. He wants to play Bailey as much as he wants. He wants to rotate the left backs. He has an idea of having two in front of the defence. And it's great because the fact that we've got a manager that wants to continuously have the same system, and then with the players that he's already got, shows that he's not one of those managers to go, well, I didn't get my transfer windows to do it. So that's what I'm enjoying.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, as you said, all we've done in January is we've signed a prospect forward in John Duran, and we're giving him a taster of league football the rest of this season. And we've signed a left back in Alex Moreno, who I've got to say I love him. He's just so direct, and he loves to take a player on all the time. Links up well with Buendia, links up well with Watkins. It is really fun to watch, I think, for a left back, and the left back in the system is so important.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's only brought in one starting player and then one that's learning still, and he's getting a great tune out of him. And I think a lot has been said about having a smaller squad and keeping them happy, and it seems to do the trick. You know, we're not in those competitions at the moment.
No.
Which will, you know, if we did get Europe, it becomes different then with, you know, League Cup, FA Cup, Europe, Premier League, and we looked leggy tonight. If you're playing, you know, weekend midweek quite a lot, you're going to need those players, and the players that we've got already are going to have to get used to that. But yeah, he's come in and he showed what good coaches do. He gets the best out of his players, and he gives them the structure to express their own like creativity in it. Because that's the thing, you know, you have your tactics, you have your drills, you have your structure, but a lot of it is giving them a bit of freedom in their own space. You tell them how to find the space, you give them the confidence, but they're the ones that have got the tools in the locker. They're the ones that have got to do the work, and this is what they're doing. We're playing some good football now. One of the commentators actually said they're good to watch, and it's like,
yeah,
the start of the season,
ridiculous,
we were terrible, we were turgid. It was just, you could fall asleep watching it. I remember that game. Was it 1-0 against Leicester or Southampton? I can't even remember who it was. I think Ramsey.
Southampton.
Yeah, and it was one of the most dreadful games I've ever watched. And now it's just gripping.
Yeah.
We're under Gerrard, he talks like we wanted to be a big club, whereas now we're acting and playing as if we are a big club. We are taking control of games and getting the results. It's just incredible. And the turnaround in, what is it now, 5-6 months, amazing.
I genuinely can't still really believe it, and I'm still sort of catching on to the idea that we're a good football team again, and one that people... I mean, look, there's been so much talk this week over how much we sort of been ignored, is the idea, in the media, and forgotten about. And I put out a tweet, I think yesterday or the day before, and I just said, look, I don't think you're going to understand how great it is to go under the radar for as long as possible, because these players, one of the co-commentators was saying it today, you know, Villa have now got something to play. You know, they were free playing, and now they've got sort of something to play for. They're feeling a bit of pressure. I don't think that's the case so much anymore, and I didn't see a team today that was desperate to score. They wanted to score, but they weren't making completely rash decisions. All right, there was Ashley Young and Leon Bailey, couple of chances that went just over long range, but that was from corners. But we're not a team that's scrambling thinking we need to win. Like, if that's Liverpool today, those last 10 minutes, they're a mess because they're so desperate to win, and they've got so much to lose if they don't. And we don't. If we get Europe, it is an outstanding achievement, and arguably one that you could say puts Emery up for manager of the season when he didn't even manage a whole season. That's the sort of idea it would be, and that's why I quite like it, because we're all talking here, we're all chatting about it. Obviously, we are having a joke about it, but I'm not actually expecting Europe. And if we like drawn today or lost today, Europe was out the window, I'd still be happy with finishing 10th because it's progress, and I'm still focusing on the fact that we're progressing as a team and as a club as well. And that's sort of what I'm here for. But now it's here, we're obviously going to be going on a European tour next year.
Yeah. See, the thing for me was, like, before I wanted to keep myself collected, because I think even if you don't win tonight, this season's been a bit weird and nothing's over. I also think I was thinking earlier about that season when we nearly went down. We were how many points off with 3 games to go?
Yeah,
it was like 7 points off, and we managed it. Football. Those top 4 predictors that we've been seeing the screenshots, it's good to have a meme and a joke about it, like, they're ignoring us again, but they're just full of shit. Top 6 predictors, top 4 predictors, because football doesn't work like that. It doesn't work off previous things. You can just hit form, and we've hit form, and I think today was a big game, and then Saturday now is bigger, and so is Newcastle. That's even bigger.
Yeah,
you've got to keep taking it game at a time, but finishing top half was I kept saying was my goal, and now I'm talking about we've got to keep up the push for European football. It's mad, but I wouldn't want fans to get too disheartened if we don't make Europe this season, because from where we were, we did waste 10 games, 11 games of the season, and we didn't bring too many in January, and I think that was a positive for me. But we haven't made too many changes, but the trajectory that we're on, Europe is more than possible. Than possible. It's looking more and more likely, and I think we will beat Forest on Saturday. I can't imagine how good Villa Park will feel, because there'll be a buzz before it, because every game now feels like that 10-game winning run in the Championship, in a sense. Keep up that steam, keep up the momentum, and anyone that's going on Saturday, enjoy it, because I think we will win again, and who knows where we'll be sitting then after that game.
Yeah, I mean, Sonny mentioned it there, saying obviously Villa Park is going to be rocking, and how excited he is to go down. It's one of those times now where, as a Villa fan, you're thinking about the fact that there's a chance now that you're following a team that, whilst isn't fighting directly for something, you've got the idea and the prospect coming up ahead, and every game we're going into knowing because of course you can come into some seasons going, we're not playing for anything, and it's sort of a free hit game. And maybe last season or this season now, say if we had Gerrard in charge now and we were 1 place behind and 3 points further worse off, you probably think that's the end of our season, because you don't have that faith going into it, and it's a nothing game. Now you've got the chance to go in and just fully enjoy the fact that we're playing brilliant football, quite nice attacking play football at times as well. And the idea of the fact that you're going to go on and watch a team that has possibly got the chance to finish the highest that we finished in, 15 years? Minimum?
Roughly.
Well, 14, before even I managed to start following Villa, which is absolutely outrageous considering the start we've had. And look, Tom Aiden's mentioned it there, that people are disheartened if we don't get into Europe. There will be some that...
Yeah, I understand it.
Yeah, there will be some that will go, there was the chance, we've sort of missed it. I'm not for a second saying that we should be disheartened if we don't, but as soon as you give someone an inch, they're going to try and take that inch and make it into a mile. And unfortunately, if Europe's on the table and we don't get it, people are always going to find a way to be disappointed. Sort of the way it is. So you got to try and enjoy it whilst also trying to...
This is the thing, isn't it? When I say I don't want people to be too disheartened, it won't mean that I wouldn't be disappointed, because I would, in a sense, because the opportunity's gone, and you don't want the ride to end and that. But at the same time, this is also building for next season, isn't it? Because this is almost a taste that if we don't make it this season, we've not got the whole squad that Emery technically wants going forward, and it will be good experience for them already. Considering you can say to them at the start of the season, you won two Premier League games or something, 2 or 3 in the first 10 or 11. so many drop points, and you've managed to claw yourselves up the table into the European reckoning. Take that as, you know, a massive positive. Yes, you haven't made it this time, but there's still so many positives to take. But we've got a lot of teams to play that are around us, and at the moment, you know, we are one of the form teams, you know, second or third form team, and not many people want to play us now. It's nice to be in that position, and I go into every game confident. I think every game still, before I do see a lot of, you know, this is where we slip up, and it's because we're not used to this. We're not used to going into games and knowing that we're going to really put up a fight and probably come out with a win or at least a point. It's bizarre. I tweeted it the other day. I still can't believe that we're saying, you know, we've got to keep this European push up, considering the start of the season we had. I can't get my head around it still, but it's brilliant, and you've got to just enjoy every win that we get at the moment, because it's just a great feeling.
Yeah, and it's the way we're winning it as well. Like, we've managed to win games in 3 different styles recently. We've won games we've dominated the whole way through and sawn out a win. Games where another team's been attacking us, we faced 20 odd shots inside the box, and we've come away with a 2-0 win. And today, where it's a really tricky game, it's just scrappy half the time, and a long range screamer wins at you 2-1 in the last few minutes. How can you not enjoy the fact that we're managing to win games all ways that we haven't been winning them as Villa fans for what feels like ever? Like completely ever, at least since the early 2000s, have we not been able to win games in every way that these top clubs do. That, Sonny, I agree with what you said, that obviously Chelsea, Liverpool having bad seasons does open up the gap for us. However, this happens every year where, I mean, West Ham managed to get Europe, right? And look at where they are now. Who's to say that, for example, if Brighton managed to get it, Newcastle get it, that it doesn't completely derail them and it opens up next season? It's just the way the league goes. And again, if we've got the manager that we've got and the players we've got and the way that we're playing is perfect, who's to say that we can't then go on and dethrone clubs like Spurs next season? Because at the end of the day, they're a big 6, and there's no way all 6 of them can be the best 2, as could be shown each year. There's gaps in every single one of those teams to come out each season, apart from 2 of them pretty much, if not just 1, and it's City. So I don't think the chances are going to go away after this season. I think we're just going to be better, but it also helps, obviously, if you can get it this season, you can attract just that higher tier player, like you were saying, and just kind of press on a bit more. And look, we all want it now, don't you? You know, if someone tells you, you know, there's a chance you can have something later or have it now, and it's great, of course you'd rather take it now, but it's sort of just that realistic aspect of the fact that I think it is sort of like a free hit season, isn't it, really? Yeah,
and, you know, I think we're talking, the funny thing is we're talking about Europe this season, or if we don't, we'll really push for it next season. We're forgetting that next season I really expect us to challenge for either the League or the FA Cup, or both. You know, one or the other. I feel like this team is more than capable of winning a trophy. I'd back this team in a final right now. I really would, because Emery's just so... I don't have the words for him anymore. I've used every superlative for him. He's just so brilliant. I don't think I've ever seen...
That's my word of the day. He's ethereal.
He's beautiful. He's fucking beautiful. That's what he is. And honestly, just want to run my hands through his hair and give him the biggest hug ever and say thank you.
Sorry, I'm just imagining now you walking into Villa Park and just stroking his hair, and sort of that might be the only way I manage to get a ticket at Villa Park again, is if you get stadium banned. It's strange though. I do want to go into one of the comments I saw, because we had a disagreement. I need to add like a drum roll effect for things like that during the middle of the game. Where I had my classic, it's 45 minutes in, he's not done anything, I'm angry at Leon Bailey rant, and looking back I do agree with James, and James mentioned at the start that he wasn't an issue, he wasn't the reason we weren't like 3-0 up. And my main issue with him has always been that when he is on and when he does get the ball, he does not simply do enough, and he does not give the idea that when he gets the ball, when say Emi Buendia does, Jacob Ramsey get it, that they're going to do something. Comment came in earlier saying yeah, allow Alonso to go past. I do apologise.
Booba Cat Kamara.
Yeah. um, I will change his name one day to that. That was the most outrageous name I've ever heard, and it works perfectly. It came in saying he doesn't understand how Traore is not getting picked ahead of Bailey. I think it's clear that Unai does have an idea of what he thinks Bailey can bring to the team, and Bertrand Traore hasn't started a game for us since he's come back, so he's never really going to start the game now in this specific outset. Also, I think he plays better in the system of coming on late into a game, because he's so strange. He's such a strange player that it's sort of like, especially then against 10 men, to bring him on there, he's just going to get the space and he's going to do something completely different that's going to change the landscape of the game. I'll say it now, if I had the choice, I'd rather us get someone better than Leon Bailey, and I would rather have Bertrand Traore than Leon Bailey to bring on. That's just my personal preference, because I think personally you get more out of a Bertrand Traore off the pitch. Or if, for example, we're playing a third round FA Cup game next season, whilst we're obviously waiting for our Champions League draw, we need those type of players that are going to be playing on the offsets as well. So I don't know. That's my thoughts anyway.
Well, I think he's now starting to claim to be given more minutes. That's some way to put your name in the fold and say, look, I deserve to play more. I mean, I'm just playing that goal over in my head. I thought it was going over. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
When it nestled in the back of the net, I was everywhere. I don't think there was one limb in the same area in this room. It was on Leon Bailey. As I said to you, I don't think he was an issue. I don't think he was the reason that we weren't 2 or 3-0 up by us. I don't think he was the reason that we were 1-0 up. I don't think he was. I don't think he was taking away anything or adding anything. He looked like, to me, he was just trying to do the basics today. He'd get the ball out wide, he'd turn back and he'd pass it back, and then we'd overload and we'd switch. And I guess it must be hard for him, because he will know that the pressure that's on him and that people aren't seeing what they want to see from him. And he's, I get that he's not in his normal role. He's not really suited to this system in the sense of he needs space to win into, whereas at the moment we're a controlling team. He's got to work in tight spaces, he's got to produce that tight space brilliance, but that's more of a Bertrand Traore thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's not lightning quick, but he's agile and he can beat a player. But yeah, I think in the keep sell loan video that we did, I think I said I would sell Bailey, and it's not. I don't mean that in a harsh way. I just don't think that it's suited for him, and I think he needs to play somewhere that does suit him. I don't want to be harsh on him at all, because we've said before we don't like scapegoats and all that, and I think he tries. Whether he's good or not is a different matter, and Unai obviously thinks there's something in him to keep playing him, but he is very frustrating at times. Yeah. But as I said, it's the lack of some parts of the squad that means that we have to use him at times. But yeah, it wasn't his best, or it wasn't his worst performance. He was just there, I think. And then obviously when Traore comes on and does that, I think it will only increase the pressure on Bailey, won't it? I think he needs to be an impact sub at this moment in time, especially against the bigger teams, really coming on against them when there is more space. But yeah, I can't say I'm not disappointed in Leon in the sense of I thought we'd get more out of him when he first signed, but it is what it is, and I think he could be a casualty in the summer. But again, we just don't know. We honestly don't know what Emery's plans are, and I kind of really love that.
Yeah, I think I find it tough because I do think that there's more to come from a lot of these players. I think this isn't a lot of their limits, and I really don't think that this is the best Leon Bailey could be as a player. But at the same time, I think we haven't really got time to be experimenting with him, considering we've got more than enough players in our back set to actually come into the fold. And like you said, I don't think this is the formation he's going to want to play forever. So I want to chat about Jean Duran, because his cameo today was interesting.
It was.
I don't think I've ever seen a player be dummied into running across the halfway line on a kickoff that many times ever. Please do allow Pussy Louise to walk on past. That's it. Knock the microphone as you go through. I'm also here.
Star of the show.
You could talk. There we are. Just show everyone what you think of James Maddison.
When Durand come on, I genuinely had the belief that he was gonna score the winner. I said it earlier. I thought he was gonna, but it was the right sort of sub to make. He was something different, but I hope he does get a bit longer in games soon. But I don't want to question Emery because, well, I'd upset about that. But yeah, it would be nice. I think in games where we're probably 2-0 ahead, maybe with 20 minutes to go, we might see him more. But he just looks such a handful, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Ball comes into him, and I just think you're not getting that off him. He's a big lad and he's quick, and I think come next season, I think we'll see a different side to him, a more rounded side, and then I just think in a couple of years' time he could be a really solid forward. He's only 19. There's so much growth to go yet.
It's quite nice having the idea of the fact that we've got Cameron Archer that's out on loan, playing well in the Championship. You've got Ollie Watkins, who's basically going to go on to be England's best ever striker, and then you're obviously look, I'm not getting carried away or anything, I promise, but the fact that Duran can come on, not score, but still impress me is enough to make me happy, because you want that from a young striker. He's 19, right? And he scored for Colombia not too long ago, and to see the fact that him not scoring isn't making him worse of a player is quite interesting, because he's constantly running. I mean, he got that foul that he gets against I forgot the bloke's name, where he completely rolls past him and he gets pulled back. He would have been through on goal there. That's what I'm interested to see, because if that's a different time in the game, a player doesn't make that pullback probably, or he's a little second quicker and he's through. And that's what I can't wait to see, because especially if you're coming up against like Forest on Saturday at home, and you're pulling off the centre back like that and you're running through. That's the sort of thing that if you've got Watkins doing it, and then when Watkins is tiring, you've got Duran who's doing the exact same thing. It means we're not completely altering our style when we change our strikers, like we were doing when we had Danny Ings. So I think that was, looking back, that's a brilliant decision to get rid of Ings and bring in Duran, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I mean, I said it at the time when Ings went. I was happy, to be honest, because nothing against Danny Ings. He's obviously a good player, but he's not suited to us, and you can't get any more proof than what we've seen. Watkins has scored how many now without Ings, and Duran's come in and he can make a difference to the shape of the game when he comes on. He's a bit of a powerhouse. He does have that Haaland sort of thing about him, where I bet defenders don't want to face that, big, strong, fast, and it's exciting to watch him. But when we got rid of Ings, I thought that's a positive step, because we're trimming what we don't need, and we're not adding what we don't need either in January. We've got a nice streamlined squad, and they're all pulling their weight, to be honest, mostly. And I think that if you add more quality into certain areas, I think Young today, as I said, I didn't really blame him for the first goal, but there was a couple of moments where he did look a bit shaky, and I expect that from a 38-year-old that's played Saturday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but he didn't have a bad game. I just think we need a little bit more different quality in certain areas. And I mean, again, today we were without Kamara. That's something that we haven't had to be that disappointed about in the end. I want him back, but we've got the job done again without him, and he can still come back in and make a difference. Honestly, everything at the moment, everywhere you look, it just looks brilliant, and the excitement is amazing to have back.
It's just, I'm struggling to find words now, because we're doing this each week, and I was Saturday, I was like, what are we going to do if we don't win? Because I've actually forgotten what it's like to record a podcast when we don't win or play really well. Because even when we were losing, we were playing well. It's baffling, and I find it amazing how people are able to do this for teams that are so great all the time. Because like you must be baffled when you lose and don't play well. Because I can't imagine us I can imagine us losing because it's Aston Villa Football Club. But I can't imagine us playing poorly anymore. And to slowly ingrain that out of each of our heads is really good. And I don't think we're ever quite sure on how we got Unai Emery, who was the driving factor behind it. But again, if I think it was all quite clear that Christian Perslow was keen for Gerrard and obviously stuck by him. Was it Perslow? Was it the owners that took hierarchy for Unai Emery? I'm not sure, but whoever did it, I owe way too much for you, because it's completely changed it for us, and it's without bringing a tear to James's eye, it's probably the best we've seen Aston Villa Football Club since the 10-game win streak in the Championship, and then before that, since before I started watching them.
Well, honestly, this is better than, in a different way, this is better than the 10-game winning streak. I mean, I have a slightly bit of a different view of the Championship, because I think everyone romanticises it more now because we did get out of there in that 10-game winning streak, and Jack, Dean and Luke Roper, that everything came together at the end of that season, and I think it's made it feel a lot better than it was. For me, when I look back, 2.5 years in that Championship wasn't fun most of the time. Don't get me wrong, it's competitive and it's thrilling to watch, but I just wanted to get back in the Premier League, and the quality of football is just so different. We are now levels and levels and levels above what we have been for over a decade.
Yeah.
And it's just in such a short space of time as well, in the space of 5-6 months. I will not stop saying it. I can't get my head around it. I was buzzing when we first got Emery in, and I think it was Sawiri's choice. I think he was in anger got rid of Gerrard, and I love that. And
the Fulham game, wasn't it, where it was reports of him just storming out, weren't it?
Yeah, and then he went and got his man in Emery, and at the moment everything looks like it was the perfect choice, and I think it'll just carry on being that way. I just, it's weird because I just don't see when we're next going to lose at this rate. It just feels like we can't. The last time I wasn't impressed with us was the 1-1 draw with Wolves, and that was early January.
Yeah. That was our worst league game under Emery, wasn't it? And
it was, yeah. And that was understandable because we were still really early days. I think it was in his first 5 or 6 league games, and I think since then they've kicked on. Even that 3-game losing streak, that's something as well. We had a 3-game losing streak. What did we do? I think we've gone unbeaten since then.
Yeah.
I think since then that's when we've gone 6 unbeaten. We've just turned.
Yeah, it must be right since Arsenal.
Yeah, since Arsenal. Yeah, Arsenal. And then we obviously went and beat, I think it was Everton. I think that was where
and then Everton, Palace, West Ham.
Yeah. I just don't feel like the run's going to end, and I really hope it doesn't. I look at the last 9 games and I feel like we could win. I mean, we are capable of winning them all. It's unlikely, but I feel like we'll win more than we'll draw and lose them, and that probably puts us in European place at the end of it.
Well, currently on form right now, we're top 3 in the league in terms of form, and again, I just don't see Mikey up the cat yet. I mean, you may say that now. No, in all seriousness, it's this idea that having a manager that's able to do that for us, and a manager and a team that's able to install this faith back into the club is outstanding to me, and I'll never be less grateful for it.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm looking at Forest and I see a win. I'm looking at Newcastle and I'm seeing a draw. The table came out, didn't it? Someone did a spreadsheet of everyone from Villa upwards. Liverpool, Brighton, Brentford, all of their next few games and how they're going to play out. And it had us finishing 4th, and it had us going unbeaten for the rest of the league, only dropping points to Newcastle and Man United, the only 2 draws for the rest of the season. Newcastle will be lucky to get a draw from us.
I got to say, I do fear Newcastle, but at the same time, being at home, They're playing well again, but we're playing really well. It's one of those things, isn't it? That we're not going to win every game that's left of the season. We can, stranger things have happened in a sense, but we won't. We'll win. I think we'll win more than we'll lose and draw. But it's about how we react to when we drop a point, or drop 2 points, or if we drop 3 points. You've got to get back up on your horse and go at it again, and I think we will. He's got an answer for everything, it seems, and sometimes it's just not your day as well, and you've got to be able to take that on the chin and go again. You can just look. I think we deserved the win in a sense against Chelsea. We didn't dominate the game, and they probably felt aggrieved to have not scored with all the chances they had. But sometimes that's just how football works.
Yeah.
Because you create your own luck, and we've created our own luck from how we've been playing and the grit and the determination. And why would that stop now? I just feel like this run's going to carry on, and we're on the brink of something special.
Really is. Well, unfortunately, of things that can't continuously carry on, it's this live stream. It is unfortunate. Now, for those watching it as a separate video, obviously, what we will say is we don't know when the next video is, because this is how we roll. We're free moving spirits, me and James. We might record tomorrow, we might record next Wednesday, who knows? We're
like everyone here in the Emery system. We just float about and we return it where and when we need it.
But every time we do, it's fucking magic.
Exactly.
Beautiful stuff. Well, for everyone that managed to jump into the live stream, whether you're watching it still or whether you're having a little rewatch from what you missed after not sticking around, thank you very much for tuning in. Technical issues, cat issues, galore. Yeah. But apart from that, we're loving this ride. Unai Emery is taking the AVFC Faithful podcast to new heights, and I like to think that we're probably doing the same for them as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well said.
Beautiful stuff. Well, as always, if there's anything else that you want to have a little look through and have a little chat through, please do give us a comment down below, because we're always happy to take a look into what you guys are thinking about and what you guys want us to talk about. Please do as well check out the channel. There's a couple new videos up. We've got the Keep Loan Sell video that me and James spent a long old time doing as well. I spent a long old time at work writing down my notes for that. Of course, we've also got the brand new video I did as well on Emi Martinez. No, too late. We're not doing it now, mate. And of course, we'll have a brand new video this week of how many times can Dan shout at his cat during a live stream.
Well, we'll make it a YouTube short. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff. Well, as always, up the Villa, and thank you all for joining in.
Up the fucking Villa.